Okay, so I'm back here with my troubled hive. I extracted 2 frames of honey because the top brood box is honey bound, and the extraction went really well. I may break this up into 2 separate videos, so just in case, this is what the extracted frame looks like. So they can clean this up and use this either for brood or for honey. I'm going to put one in the top and one in the bottom around the middle, so hopefully it gets them moving up to the middle. And I'm also going to perform an inspection on the bottom brood box just to see if I can find eggs. So again, the situation was that I thought I was queenless. It looks like they've made a supersedure queen, and it looks like she's laying. It's a pretty decent pattern that she's putting out, so it doesn't look like a laying worker, laying drone. But we really probably won't know until they start to cap it off. They haven't started to cap it off yet. So I'm going to take this box, drop one of the empty frames in the middle here, and then remove it, pull up a frame from below, and put it up here as well. Should probably put that in the middle. So I'll take this out. Oh, these are already on it. That's nice. So I'll make space for 2 more frames in the middle here, and bring one frame up from the bottom. So again, on this inspection of that bottom brood box, I'm going to try and see if I can find eggs, because I have found larvae and lots of it, but I haven't seen eggs. And of course, it'd be nice to find what I think is a new right laying queen. Oh boy, that box is heavy. Wow. That top box is definitely honey bound. And I'm going to smoke these guys because it's an overcast day here, and they have been very pleasant to work with, but at some point they won't be as pleasant, and part of that can hinge on poor weather conditions, right? It's not a great day and they're not out foraging, they're generally not happy, plus there's a lot more bees in the hive. Okay, so I'm going to start on this side here. I think you can see how they're bubbling up already, right? There's a good amount of bees in the bottom brood box, it looks like, which is great, but not very many at the top. All right, let's start over here. Wow, that frame is going to be a tricky one to pull out. Not coming out so easily. Okay, yeah, this frame is broken, that's right. I'm not going to pull this frame out. It's a honey frame anyway, but the frame is detached from the top bar, so it's not going to come out easily or happily, so we'll just leave it. Let's see what we got here. I'd expect this would be another honey frame, so I may just pull this one out. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, it's a frame full of nectar. On both sides. Look for the queen on it. It'll be easy to spot because there are very few bees here. I'll just put this one aside. And let's keep the inspection going. Another frame of the same, just nectar. Both sides. Just nectar, which is on its way to being capped honey. And I can see 2 more queen cells here, 2 more supersedure cells. And I saw those before. Interesting that these supersedure cells are actually on a honey frame, but these are, that means a total of 4 solid supersedure cells that I've seen in the last couple of inspections. Can you see them there? See if I can zoom in for you. See those 2 peanuts sitting there? So I will have a look at those cells just to see if I can tell if they've been used or haven't been used or what's going on. They've obviously been trying to make a new queen in a desperate way, and I believe they have, because there's lots of evidence to show that. This frame is problematic because it looks like it has almost entirely been glued to the side of the box. So I'll have to make a note to try and fix this frame or replace it, because it's not going to be easy to deal with. Maybe these pullers, which I just started using, could help if I could grab the bottom side of the frame. Maybe not, it's too far away. Okay, let's do it the old-fashioned way. Brute force. There we go. So take a look at those two queen supersedure cells there. See them? And this is a frame that's just full of honey on both sides, but they pop down a couple supersedure cells. Let's have a look. What's going on inside? Yeah, there's nothing inside them. So we'll just leave them there. They won't do any harm. But again, it means that obviously they've been trying to build a new queen. I don't have anything to repair this frame with me, but I'll have to get that for next time. I'm going to try not smoking them, although you can see lots of bees have made their way back up to the top. And they're very calm still, so I'm just going to keep working at that. Now, I did see some hive beetles. What I think are hive beetles, because I've never seen hive beetles before. Outside the box on the tray. So I'm going to take a really close look to see if there are any in this hive. Now, this is the other cell where I saw what looks like two queen cells. This is what leads me to believe that there is a new queen in here. You see these two queen cells, right? This one here looks like it's just been chewed out normally at the bottom, see? This one here then looks like it's been destroyed, right? So my working theory is that the new queen hatched out of this cell and then went over and killed this queen. Could be right, could be wrong, don't know, but I did find plenty of larvae in the next few frames, so something is laying, and it seems to be a decent pattern, a good pattern. So it looks like it's a right-laying queen, and I'm trying not to be overly optimistic. I'm trying to be realistic based on deductions and what little experience I do have, and of course comments from YouTubers. Now those comments still range. I can get everything from the hive is queenless to split it right away to whatever else. But that's what happens with beekeeping, you know. 10 different knowledgeable professional beekeepers can give you 10 different opinions. So I'm looking at this frame. I'm also looking for pollen, because one YouTuber mentioned to look for pollen to make sure you're still getting it. Right now the most important thing to look for, I think, is eggs and brood. I don't see any here so far. On this side, same. This side's just being filled with honey. So this is a new frame. It's plastic and it's not completely drawn out yet. So I mean, they do have some room to work in this hive, but I think adding the 2 extra frames will really help. Now I'm just going to look across the top here to see if I can see a mite or a hive beetle or anything that doesn't look like it belongs in the hive. And oh yeah, the queen, of course. I'm always looking for the queen. I don't see anything that looks bad there, so we'll keep going. Oops. Just put my hive tool in a bee's face. Sorry about that. Hope you're okay. This is a very light frame, and it's basically empty. Oh no, it isn't empty. There is larvae in here. Yeah, there's actually a lot of larvae in the middle. So now I'm going to go out to the outsides, and I should see some eggs, right? But I don't. I don't see eggs, but I do see larvae. And I mean, it looks like they're starting to cap some of the larvae, and it doesn't look like drone caps that they're putting on. So I'm going to have you have a look at this. Because, you know, if it's a laying worker, it's going to be all drone. But if you look at the capping that they're starting to do here, that looks very normal. So that's probably a good sign. Again, I can't see any eggs in there. And as I look more closely at this pattern, there is a lot of empty cells though. There are a lot of empty cells. So, again, I don't know if this queen is going to be that good a laying queen. If you look at these cells right here, it looks like they're elongated. They might end up being drone cells. But those are the exception to the rule here. So again, not too crazy about that frame. Shows some not great sign. And this side is barely drawn out. So I'm going to move this frame up to the second brood box. Tentatively, depending on what I see in the rest of the box. But that may be a frame that I move up just to get the queen moving up into the second box and laying up there. Now this frame a week ago had something like 9 swarm cells on the bottom of it. And it looks like they're all gone now. Yeah, they're all gone. And I don't believe I removed them, so the bees removed them. There's lots of larvae here. And because this frame is so dark, if there's any frame where I'm going to see eggs very clearly, this is it. So I'm seeing some pollen, which is good. Lots of larvae. Looking for the queen. I don't see her. On this side, again, more of the same. Larvae. Some brood that's being capped now. Some brood that looks like drone. And some that doesn't. So kind of a mix of everything. And I think what's got to basically happen here is I've got to wait a few days to see if they're actually laying just brood or if they're laying workers. If they're laying workers, then we keep observing. If they're not, then we don't. And you know what? The other thing that makes me believe that there probably is a young mated queen in here is that, remember I told you there are a bunch of swarm cells on the bottom of this? Well, it looks like they've all been destroyed. Like, you see these things on the bottom here? They've been chewed up from the sides, not from the bottom. So it's not like a queen has emerged from there. It looks more like another queen has made her way over and destroyed them. So again, you may feel different. I'd love to hear your opinion on it. But I'm just going on what I'm seeing and more or less making some deductions. Okay. Now, I said I was going to put one of the honey frames down here, so I will before I forget. So this will be an empty frame that they can use at their disposal. All right. Get out of there, bees. I don't want to squish you. So I still haven't seen any vermin, which is a really good sign, but I mean, seeing those hive beetles underneath, if they were in fact hive beetles, is still food for thought. Okay, now on this frame, I do see it is a lot of drone. So it may be that it is a laying worker here, because this pattern just doesn't look good at all. A nice pattern would be you know, worker bees, so female drone in the middle and surrounding basically the whole frame, and then drone comb would be at the bottoms or the edges. And you can see on this frame there's what looks like drone comb all over. See how bumpy it is and how uneven it is? That's not good. You see lots of larvae looking for eggs. I mean, there's larvae right to the edge of the frame here. So it's funny, like, you know, one frame you look at it and you make a call that there is a queen and it's working well. You look at the next frame and you change your mind. So, let's see what's going on here. Lots of larvae in this frame, but, you know, too much drone comb for my liking. Again, this frame also full of larvae. There are plenty of empty spaces too, so this frame has 1, 2, 3 swarm cells that are probably going to be empty, but I'll take a close look at them. No. There's larvae in one of them. So I'm going to get rid of that one. But I definitely don't want them to swarm. So you can see how this swarm cell did have a larva in it. You see that? The rest of them all had a little bit of what looked like royal jelly, but I didn't see any larvae in there. Big hunks of pollen. Yeah, again, these, see a ton of larvae here, but what they're capping looks mostly to be drone. Take a look here. Now, unfortunately, I'm going on vacation, so there's nothing really I can do for the next 2 weeks. But when I come back in 2 weeks, I think it'll be a telling story. I think the story will write itself as far as whether there is a queen or not in there. And if there isn't, then I have to determine a way to rapidly increase the population of this hive with a new queen. This should probably just be a honey frame, and it is. And again, they're building 2 more supersedure cells on this frame. So, being that I haven't seen any eggs, I mean, there had to be eggs there if there were larvae, right? And so there are 2 supersedure cells just being formed here. So again, I would deduce that they do have critters in them, right? So I deduce that they are trying to build a new queen. Now, the question is, can they build that new queen, get her out and mated, and have her producing bees now that it's August 16th and we're kind of running out of summer? I don't know. I've got to make that call basically in 2 weeks when I come back from vacation. So if you have some input on that, it would be great and it would be appreciated. But right now I really cannot confidently tell the state of this hive. I really can't tell if it has a queen or not. And the last 3 times I've visited, I've more or less made 3 different decisions on it. One time I say it has a queen, next time I say it doesn't have a queen. Last time I felt that they had made a new queen, and the evidence kind of backed it up, to some degree at least. This time it's not looking so great. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think I got stung in the back here. Maybe kind of feeling a bit of a barb back there. Okay, let's get this thing in. Now, I mean, the one positive thing is I didn't see any hive beetles in here, or any mites, or any of the sort, so that's a really good thing. Alright, so unfortunately, I continue to run a little on the clueless side as far as what's really going on with this hive. So I will get my mentor out to have a look at it, to see what he thinks. Your comments are always welcome. And thanks for joining me at 40 Honeybee.